I'm Ruth from Marzocco UK in Ireland, and we're here at the London Coffee Festival 2022 to meet the professionals and get their best tips for making espresso at home. Let's go!
It's really important to check the roast date on your coffee. When your coffee is too fresh, there's lots of CO2. When you grind that coffee, it releases the CO2 and you get lots of volatile acidity. You can get really sparkling water sort of texture and a lack of sweetness. To stop that happening, leave your coffee for about 14 days from the roast date. It'll be really nicely settled and your espresso recipe will dial in really easily.
My best tip for making espresso at home is to buy a good set of scales.
Something important when making espresso at home is the quality of water, either filtered or bottled water. This is for the taste of the coffee and the longevity of the equipment.
If you're looking to make espresso at home, one thing to watch out for is your grind size. If your grind size is too fine, your espresso will choke up and run through too slowly. If it's too coarse, the water will run through too fast and your shot will be too acidic and weak. So, the best way to look at it is like a bucket of sand or a bucket of pebbles. If you've got a bucket of sand, the water will be absorbed in those particles. If you've got a bucket of pebbles, the water will run through too quickly. So adjust your grind size to suit, weigh your dose to have accurate measurements, and then pull your shots.
My top tip for steaming milk on the Linear Mini is figuring out where the wand is about to turn on, so when it starts to get a little bit tense. And then basically having a set routine where you go like a quarter turn or a little bit more from that point. And then when you're actually steaming the milk, getting to the right height on the steam wand so your milk's just at the right depth where it won't splash all over you. You don't have to move a lot to get the perfect texture for flat whites, lattes, cappuccinos and stuff. And then you're holding the milk jug with your other hand on the side and the bottom, so that you can't really avoid measuring temperature pretty accurately. You'll never go too far wrong with that because you'll want to turn it off before it gets uncomfortable.
A question I often get asked, what's the difference between steaming oat milk and cow's milk? And the answer is simple. Not much different. One sneaky tip that I have is pouring a little drop of cold Oatly in with the espresso before you pour your steamed milk on top.
So my top tip for making a really decent milk drink is just to make sure that you do a simple step, which is to work the espresso at the same time as pouring in the milk. I mean, you have a very shiny, decent looking milk drink.
One of my best tips for making great coffee at home is when your milk's steaming, you want to make sure that you're trying to get really great milk texture, and one way to do that is by tapping the milk after you've steamed it and giving it a really good swirl.
My best advice for making espresso at home is to trust your palate. There's no greater arbiter of subjective quality than you.
My top tip for home baristas is not to worry too much about the numbers. Your dose, your yield, your pressure, that's important, but don't get hung up on them. Just dial in a recipe that tastes good to you.
So there we have it, London Coffee Festival 2022. We hope you enjoyed meeting all the professionals and you learnt a thing or two about making better espresso at home. If you do want to learn more, make sure you check out all of La Marzocco's Coffee Encounters episodes on Instagram and YouTube.